My Game Week 6 team selection. I've not played any chips this week, but I have made 3 free transfers, so taking no hits, but quite a big change up to my team overall. In goal is David Raya from Arsenal. There is a slight injury worry with him seeing wrapped up his left knee when walking out of the Arsenal-Man City game, and during the game he went down with an injury, but I think it's still worth having. Genuinely, even if he doesn't play this week, I'll probably keep him if we know he'll be back for the next week. I feel like with Raya, the upside is so good being at home to Leicester, I can't see him not keeping a clean sheet if he does play. Potentially, if you look at stats, Arsenal haven't been the best defence this season, but I think if you watch them, they always look really solid, and they've been down to 10 men twice this season, so you'd expect their defensive stats not to look brilliant. On the bench, I have Fabianski, who's just the most generic 4 million goalkeeper. There isn't one that will play, so it does not really matter who you have, so I just picked Fabianski, because he did play at one point and it looked like he might play when Areola was injured, but Areola was fit. In defence, I'm starting with a back 3 with my first defender being Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson's had a really good start to this season, maybe not attackingly but defensively. Liverpool have kept 4 clean sheets in 5 games, and the one game they didn't keep a clean sheet in was at home to Nottingham Forest, which was a big shock. You also have the upside with Andy Robertson always having an attacking threat. You can guarantee he's going to be doing crosses and getting up the pitch down that left hand side. If I was wildcarding this week, I definitely would have tried to get Trent over him, because I think he is worth that extra million with his attacking threat, but Robinson's a good way into the Liverpool defence for cheaper than Trent to save some money for your midfield and attack. My next defender is Anthony Robinson from Fulham, who's away at Nottingham Forest in Game Week 6. On paper, you'd think it's a pretty good fixture, but Nottingham Forest have done quite well this year. Fulham haven't really kept any clean sheets and not been brilliant defensively, but Robinson always has attacking threat. Robinson's only picked up 1 assist this year, and that was in Game Week 3, away to Ipswich, so one of the good fixtures, but I feel like he's always got that threat of attacking, and he's not someone I desperately needed to transfer out, so I just kept him for this week. My final starting defender is Lucas Digne from Aston Villa, who's away at Ipswich in Game Week 6. I think Digne offers a really high upside with his attacking threat and Aston Villa's solid defensive, even though they don't keep too many clean sheets. Aston Villa have still shown signs this season that they can keep up that form from last year and really perform well. Obviously, there is that risk with Ian Maatsen signing for like 30 million and Villa having Champions League football, so there may be a bit of rotation, but I don't think that will come in for Game Week 6. And with Lucas Digne having one of the best fixtures of the season on paper away at Ipswich, I think I'd be silly not to have him or sell him this week. My 2 defenders on the bench are Leif Davis from Ipswich, who for 4.5 million is a great option for that 4th defender role. He probably won't play many weeks for me, but with his attacking threat and the fact he takes set pieces, I think he's a really good choice. He was always going to be on my bench this week with Villa at home, but some weeks, like last week when he was away at Southampton, he's a great option. We've seen his potential when he got 2 returns in 2 weeks in Game Week 4 and 5, at home to Fulham and away to Brighton. My last sub and final defender is Mosquera from Wolves, who sadly picked up a long-term injury. However, I don't think it's worth selling him, as whoever I put in is just going to be my 3rd sub every week, so he'll just stay on my team for the long term and probably not play. That's until I wildcard. I have a midfield 5 of Morgan Rogers, Cole Palmer, Brian Mbeumo, Mo Salah and Antoine Semenyo. This means I've made 2 free transfers in midfield just from this week, with Brian Mbeumo coming in for Yankuba Minter and Sammy Smodics going out for Antoine Semenyo, who has a great couple of fixtures at home. I brought in Mbeumo because I really wanted him. Brentford have a great run of fixtures now, and Brian Mbeumo is their star man now that Tony's left. He should take penalties, and he started this season really well. He scored 8 points away at Tottenham last week, proving that he can do it against anyone, and has a good run of fixtures. I think at his price point, if you're wildcarding or doing any teams, he should really be in your transfer plans. I think he's the best option around that 7 million price range for the coming weeks. I brought in Antoine Semenyo for his good short-term fixtures as a little bit of a punt. He started well this season, but has not done as well in the last couple of game weeks, but I still think he really has that potential to score really good points in the next few weeks, so as just a slight differential, I really like him. It was pretty obvious I had to take out Minter this week after he didn't start the last game and has gone a bit out of form in the last couple of weeks. He did show really good signs at the start of the season, but it's not quite happening now when João Pedro's got injured. You may be wondering how I can afford this, and you'll see that in the forwards with who I've transferred in for Wesser. My next midfielder is Morgan Rogers, who's looked so good at the start of this season. It took him a few weeks to return, but getting 2 assists in game week 5 just seals him in my team. He's a player who really passes the eye test. He's looked so good in every game this year, with a standout performance at home to Arsenal. I see Rodgers as a fixture-proof player who can do well against anyone, so with his pitch away I think I'd be silly to sell him this week. I have 2 premium midfielders, with the first one being the FPL GOAT Mo Salah. I brought him in my Game Week 4 wildcard, which is of course when he's gone a bit out of form, but getting 10 plus points in your first 3 game weeks, I still want him. As long as he's in the Premier League, he's always going to be a brilliant option under any manager, and even under Arne Slot, he's still done really well. He of course will take penalties, and it's just such a constant threat. I can see him maybe playing a bit less minutes with Champions League football now with Chiesa, and the fact he is getting a bit older, but I still see him doing really well. And with Wolves away, who have started the season really poorly, it's a really good game. He honestly is probably the second best captaincy option, because with Haaland scoring 10 goals in 5 games, you wouldn't look past him, but still, great option. And my final starting midfielder is Cole Palmer from Chelsea. Cole Palmer started this season really well again, carrying on his form from last year, with 4 goals and assists in 5 games. He's looked really good, and so have Chelsea. Chelsea have surprised me with how good they've looked under Maresca. I didn't expect them to be this good. Obviously, they may be a bit inconsistent, but they looked really good against West Ham with Cole Palmer scoring. And Cole Palmer obviously always brings that luxury of being on every single penalty for Chelsea when he's on the pitch, and he's got a pretty good record of scoring all of them. Up front, I've made my last free transfer in selling Wizza, who got injured away at Man City in Game Week 4, and bringing in Ross Stewart just as someone to sit on my bench as a 4.5 million striker to give me the money to make my midfield transfers. My 2 starting strikers, with one of them being my captain and of course Erling Haaland. He scored 10 goals in 5 games and he's an absolute joke. You give him any sniff at goal, he's going to score, and he should get chances in every game. Newcastle have started this season points-wise pretty well, but haven't looked brilliant in every game. Although going away to St James's Park is always a difficult game. But he's going to be my captain, he's a fixture-proof player, and he's just guaranteed goals. You'd be silly not to. And if you still don't have Erling Haaland going into Game Week 6, you might as well quit this game. You've missed out on like 60 points, he's an absolute joke. And my final player being João Pedro from Brighton. I expect him to be over that minor injury he had with him playing off the bench against Nottingham Forest last week. When he was fit at the start of this season, he was fantastic, and I can really see him keeping that up. He seems to really be liked by this new manager, and when fit, I can see him getting really good minutes. He's so good, and he has the chance of being on pens. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, but I'm pretty confident he'll be on pens. Let me know if there's anything you would have done differently. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and have a great day, everyone.